Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are your hosts. A movie club is a show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it, just like a book club. On today's show, we are covering the classic thriller Dog Day Afternoon. Our thoughts and more are coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1975, Dog Day Afternoon was directed by Sidney Lumet and stars Al Pacino, John Cazale, and Penelope Allen. Three amateur robbers plan to hold up a Brooklyn bank. A nice, simple robbery. Walk in, take the money, and run. Unfortunately, the supposedly uncomplicated heist suddenly becomes a bizarre nightmare as everything that could go wrong does. It currently has a 4.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked 136 on its top 250. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Film Editing, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Chris Sarandon, Best Actor for Al Pacino, and Best Picture. It won 1 Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Alrighty, before we dive into our thoughts on this film, I do want to issue a spoiler warning for the movie. If you've never seen it before, you should probably watch it. And then come back here. We don't want to ruin it for you, but stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what movie we're covering next week, because it's, as always, it's going to be a good one. Alrighty, Kevin, so this was my pick this week, episode 95, I want to say, or we're definitely getting into the high 90s now, and I picked Dog Day Afternoon because I had watched this movie, I want to say, a little over a year ago. It was over a year ago. I was at my old apartment. I remember, like, it was one of those movies that you hear a lot about in film circles, one of the better films of all time, or respected, or whatever. And I remember really falling in love with it when I first watched it, and seeing it on the top 250 for Letterboxd, wanting to go ahead and throw it on here because it's, I think, a movie that every kind of up and coming film fan should see.
Okay.
And that's what you are, Kevin. You're an up and coming film buff getting into analysis, and I wanted to see what you had to say about it. So obviously I had seen this movie before, but what did you know anything about this movie before?
Absolutely not. Knew nothing about it.
Had you at least heard of it before?
Nope. Didn't even hear
All
about
right. Completely blind. So now, ladies and gentlemen and NBs out there, what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts are, this is how a bank heist should be. This is how a bank heist should be, like, reenacted, I feel like.
Okay.
Because this was more stressful than any action movie ever. And all they're doing is sitting in a bank the entire time. Yep. And I absolutely
most
loved
of the
it.
film.
Yeah. Most of the film, but it's really cool how it's all set in one setting until you get to the end part, and how they try to strategize to get the robbers out of the bank, in their kind of copish ways, I would say. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed this movie too. I think it's very, very well written. Which, I mean, come on, it won the Oscar for. But also the performances are incredible in this movie, and from everyone. Obviously Al Pacino is the focus here because he's the main character. He's got his iconic moments when he comes out of the bank to issue demands and Attica, that's all really good stuff. But also the supporting cast does a really good job as well. Like John Cazale, who is
Sonny,
who plays his brother in Godfather, is here as well, and he does a very good job. Al Pacino's partner does a very good job as well. I want to say they were the one that was nominated for
Cazale.
No, Sarandon was nominated. Oh wait, I want to double check here real quick. Chris Sarandon, Leon was nominated. So it was Al Pacino's partner who was nominated. I really love the performances in this movie.
Every single one of them, even like the detective and the maybe not the one, no, I don't want to say lesser people, but the ones that didn't get a lot of lines in this always had an impact in the story, which was really nice to see. Even if it was just them talking over the phone, or even the news reporter calling in to get his kind of 10 minutes of fame. Even that was very, very good, just because of how um, it was so little, but it was so crucial to the story as well.
Yeah, it's really well done. I do want to throw that up to the writers, or specifically writer on this movie. Or I guess no, it is writers. Just all around, like the tension is incredible.
Oh yeah.
You know, the dialogue, man, it really ropes you in, and I think it, I do think it slows down just a tad in the middle. I think we spend a lot of time in there, but like at the end of the day, like it's all important, and I don't know what I would have cut.
The thing is, you say it kind of slows down the dialogue time. Dude, I thought this movie, it's a 2-hour movie, and this went by so fast for me because of how involved you are in it.
Yeah,
Well,
and I do want to say I'm not saying that the dialogue is what slowed it down. I'm just saying
mhm.
that the middle act of this movie
Yeah, it
did tend to
kind of
drag a
gets
little bit.
a little sloppy in the dialogue, just a little, maybe a little repetitive at some points, but
Okay.
everything comes together for that final act, and I really appreciate it. And then, but I think it's because the writing is good, but Al Pacino is fantastic in this movie. I put in my review that he shows so many emotions when this one day he can be celebrating with the protesters outside, and then the next he can be yelling at the investigator because he's not getting his demands, and he can flip it on a switch. And then when he goes back inside and talks to his robbery partner, he can be as calm as a cucumber in there. And it's really cool how many levels he has. I haven't watched a lot of Al Pacino movies, but this is really exciting for me because this was fantastic to see him in.
Yeah, and I think here you really see the the breadth of what he can do, right? Like you
Hmm.
see more emotion, you see more energy, whereas like I think that the thing with like The Godfather, which he's also fantastic in, he's more
Yeah.
reserved. At least in the
Yes.
first one, right? He's more reserved. There's that energy and that anger boiling underneath, but it doesn't really like let itself out.
Hmm.
Whereas here,
Oh,
it
he
lets
lets it
itself
just
out,
all go. Like,
and
and
it
his
is.
his his movements with his body too. Like you can see he's frustrated, and um,
And
I
I
don't
can see
know.
it in his eyes. His
Yeah.
eyes are what I remember distinctly in this movie.
Yeah. And then him knowing how the cops are going to try to fool him in ways, and he doesn't want to be caught as being stupid in this movie. So he does everything I feel like a bank robbery should happen. And I really like that part as well because, again, this is based off of a true story, which is really, I mean, it's not cool, but it's really interesting how they made it into a film that this made me feel like a bank robbery because, again, some movies nowadays will go day one, day 20, and stuff like that. This happens all in one day and night,
Mhm.
and which I think is a fantastic point of view
Yep.
because you really get the sense of, oh, the building shut off and now the AC doesn't work because they're closed. Why would the AC be working if it's closed? Because the cops shut it off as well. And I love how it was all set in one day and not a span of multiple times.
Yeah, and I think it's as close to real time as we can get without it
Hmm.
being too slow or or whatever. I think if for some reason they decided to make a modern day version of this, I could see it going for like the 2 hour film, but it all takes place in that 2 hours and it's in real time. That's the only like way
Hmm.
that I would want to see a redo of this. Um,
I,
but
I
I
I
do,
also loved the first the the third character that we meet. He's not in the movie a whole lot. It's just the first like 10 minutes where he doesn't want to do the bank heist. Forget
Oh,
his name. But
I
I'm
don't
like,
remember that either.
oh, that's weird. Like he's having second guesses. Is everybody else going to have second guesses on it because now they're down one man? And so that really put like, what are they going to do throughout this whole movie? Because it's only two of them now.
Yeah.
And how do they get out of it? And that's what I really liked. It was making me second guess myself on how do they get out of this situation, and go forth with this bank robbery.
Yeah, and I think that, in some ways it's an example of what to do and what not to do if you're in this situation, which you should not be contemplating doing a bank robbery by any means.
No,
But
no.
this can show you how it can go devastatingly wrong, and I do think that is powerful enough on its own.
Mhm.
But also, I really want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart with this movie, and that would be I would say it's very respectful, and it doesn't take shots at the queer community, because it's a central part of this movie that
that was a little twist that I did not know. That was very. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then they explain everything, and you're like, holy shit. Okay.
this movie is like
Ahead of its time as well.
ahead of its time. Like no one, no one's calling. I mean, like unless there's like a side character at one point, but like no one calls any of them like a fruit or anything that's like offensive.
But
they're literally just
do,
trying to fix the situation.
But they also have two sides of the protest as well. As when we go down to the street in the car, you have one side saying hurtful things and the other side praising him as well.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take one road and stick with it. It gives you choices, because as people, we have choices that we can make. So I kind of liked how it didn't just sway you in a way that they wanted to.
Yeah, and I think, and it's more so a portrait, and not so much like a commentary trying to swudge you one way or the other. And I think that that's a very smart decision, and I think that's why it's still relatable to this day. And I do think that, like you pointed out, there's people who are praising him, and given this post Luigi era, yeah, you're gonna get people who praise him. And I think that that's why this film it stands the test of time, no matter when you watch it, which I really respect about it.
You can also tell in Pacino's the writing is in this segment that I'm going to talk about is fantastic, but Pacino's performance when he's talking to his wife, and then when he's talking to his lover as well. I forget the lover's name, but you can tell how compassionate he is with. But I really liked how Pacino acted when he was talking with Leon and when he was talking with his wife, because he was always frustrated with his wife. He never had a good side with his wife, but when he was talking with Leon, he was very soft and comforting, and you could tell where his heart was at. I feel like when he was talking with Leon, and how Leon didn't want to talk to him at first, but eventually built up the courage to talk to him, because he also wanted to talk with Pacino's character about what was going on.
Yeah, he's a man frustrated by this whole situation, and he can't give the person who he really wants to be with the life that they want and deserve.
Exactly.
And so that, yeah, it gets frustrating, and you can see that palpable anger in him. You can see that palpable frustration, which any of us would have. Any of us would have that. Like, sure, like you may not have a situation where your partner is looking to transition or have gender reassignment surgery, but like, what if that same thing was for your pet, or for your child, or for your parent or grandparent? Like, we have those, and everyone has that one thing that they could potentially be driven to this point for. And I think that this film treats it very realistically, a bit dramatic, because it is a film and you're getting a lot of these performances, but it does feel real.
But it
It
doesn't
feels
feel,
grounded.
and it doesn't feel over dramatic though. It
No,
feels
no,
very
yeah.
down to earth dramatic. I want to say, because it's a topic nowadays that is very talked about, but back then it probably wasn't talked about hardly any. And I just enjoyed how they just again, it was a little bit of a twist in the movie, but I liked how they didn't make the twist a like, I don't want to say a major part because it was a major part, but like it didn't force you to think about the twist, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty, and I think we've really touched on what we really want to talk about with this movie. So let's go ahead and get to our final thoughts and scores. For me, since I'm the one that picked this movie, I think that Dog Day Afternoon is a wonderful and surprising film anchored by great performances and a consistent tone throughout. I think that Pacino is at his best here. I think he is literally at the same level as The Godfather, as is most of the supporting cast. And I do feel that it can drag a little bit in its second act, and I think that might be due to the fact that we're in the same location for so long.
Mhm.
Maybe 10 extra minutes outside of the bank could have helped. I don't know, but I don't know what you would have done with it. I don't know what you would have cut, because everything else is nearly flawless. And I think this film overall is a film that like everyone needs to watch as a film buff or as someone who even just enjoys watching film. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 92 out of 100. It's a 4.5 stars out of 5. I really, really enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off of you, I mean, this movie is fantastic. Pacino is this. I want to say this is his best film, in my opinion. I love the way he acted and how he got with the dialogue, and you could feel the passion that he was having throughout this whole entire movie. I also liked the one setting where it's in a one setting thing, and until you get to the end. And I really enjoyed how much they could do with that one setting in this movie as well. Again, all the supporting actors and actresses in this movie, fantastic. Even with the little bit of screen time that some of these guys have, are so great. I absolutely loved it. So I gave it a 96 out of 100, 4.5 stars out of 5, because this is damn fantastic.
Well, there you go. So the question now falls to you in the audience. What do you think of Dog Day Afternoon? We'd love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section down below. But remember to be respectful and courteous to one another, because why not? It's the golden rule. Treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Next week, we'll be covering a classic, a cult comedy, The Big Lebowski, which I've seen before. Kevin, I don't think, has, so this will be an interesting one. Make sure to watch before next week, though, so you're not spoiled. And that'll be it. So obviously we have this series that goes live every Friday, so make sure you're subscribed so you see them. But also we have our live stream that goes live every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And come join us, because we do movie news, reviews, and a whole lot more. And man, there's been enough stories today alone that's going to make the next week interesting. So thank you so much for watching. And until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.